What is going on, Herd? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning into the video. Today we are returning back to the Desert Drift video series where we purchase them in-game, build them up to drift specs, see if they have the ability to be drift cars. This is going to be an interesting one as we have the Benefactor Shafter V12. The Schwarzer is definitely one of those legendary drift cars, without a doubt, and, well, there's no debate about that. This has been one of those vehicles that has been, well, it's popped up in the comment section, I think, just as long as it's been out. It's one of those vehicles that is very affordable, relatively cheap even if you want to go about it that route. Comes in two different variations, however the armored version is really just going to be weighing you down. It's going to be more weight, so this is your better off. If we're going to test one, this is the one to test. Exact same handling line, you know, this top speed, acceleration, braking, traction, all exactly the same from the armored version to the non-armored version. Armor, no armor, brakes, no brakes. Bumpers, what do we have for stuff on here? Do a Euro bumper, rear, not going to do any diffuser. The performance upgrades are going to be key, so engine, transmission, turbo, let's get those knocked out of the way. Suspension, I've just been putting street suspension, something right in the middle of as of late. What are you up in my microphone for? Before we get too far into this video, I should start by saying March was planned out to be a drift marathon where all of the GTA content releasing on Black Sheep TV was intended to be drift oriented. The first week of the month, it started off very hectic. I'm not going to get into details, but basically family comes first in this instance, and it stole away a whole about 10 days from me. Long story short, we're back in action, but I'm going to delay drift month until April. We're already halfway through the month of March at this point in time, so it's kind of unfair to go that route. Wheel type, I'm just going to stick with the true tried and tested and go with the O-VIPs. We are going to be starting with a series with the Monster Energy Supercross 4. It just released today. I had played, I think it was number 1 or number 2. I don't remember what version of that game, and I had a good time with it. This one seems like the career mode is really in-depth, and that's what I really enjoy about those games. So decided to pick it up, and I will be making an occasional video with it. So we got all of the performance stuff. Let's just kind of go through and do some cosmetic stuff. Doesn't look like there's any liveries for this. Kind of just take a quick look at what is actually offered. I'm going to go with red on this build. Alright, you can do the interior. I like that. Let's do the graphite on that. Matches it all. Red pinstripes. So although there's no liveries, it is kind of a fancy car. That's cool. Maybe do a little bit more carbon fiber on it just for the hashtag drift build. I think I'm going to leave the skirts alone. I think it just drops it a little too low for me. I don't know. I don't really like the look of that. Although our front bumper is kind of... Alright, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so we're done with the build. We're going to bring this thing to the track and answer that big question. The question that's really been on people's minds for a long time. Does the V12 Shafter drift? Highline Speedway. Been a long time, actually, since I brought any vehicle to this track. Perfect little spot to stance your vehicle up here on this track. Alright, let's see how it stances. Can we just stance her up traditionally? This is always the problem child over here. Looking good, looking good. Let's see how the engine block reacts. Looking good. Will it smoke? No, it will not. I'm actually kind of excited for this one. Just based off of the couple little skids and handbrake slides I had, we're getting a grade on this, I can tell you that much. I don't know what kind of grade it's going to get yet. It's going to do good or bad, but it's definitely going to be able to drift. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, now, she's a long one. And she's got some weight to her. She got some heft. Don't tell her that, though. She don't want to hear it. It will drift. This thing is an absolute animal. Probably one of the best drift vehicles I've tested in, I don't even know how long. Let's get right to grading. If you guys aren't familiar with the Does It Drift series at this point in time, we judge these vehicles on 3 separate aspects. Get out of my screen, wrong way. First off, driftability. What is it like as a drift car? How does it handle? Second line, efficiency. How does it handle damage? How does it stance up? Does it stance up at all? And finally, we get into cost. What are you paying for the prior 2 aspects? Getting right going with driftability. Single gear, awesome. Not bad at all. A little bit slow, but hey, that's kind of this family of the Benefactors, the Schwarzers, the Shafters. Let's get the question right out of the way. Is this better than the Schwarzer? And I have to say no, just because it's a little bit too long. However, it's very similar. A little bit more grip with this bad boy, but it's very similar. I'm really a big fan of this vehicle, I must say it. Losing a little angle there. We're gonna go backwards, go this way. Little single gear. Speed boost itself engages well. A lot of good slide, a lot of good body momentum. It just holds it all. Let's go this way now. Zing. It's a little sluggish with the speed boost engagement itself. However, it kind of makes up for it with the performance. Any complaints I can come up with on this thing? Take a second to think. No complaints. 10 out of 10 for driftability on this thing. It's kind of like a Schwarzer mixed with a vehicle with a little bit more grippy of a handling line. That's really what it comes down to. But then add a rear door, add about 1.5 feet, 2 feet of range, maybe even a little bit more than 2 feet. It's definitely a long sedan, and it is in the sedan class as well for drift cars, so keep that in mind. You have like the Intruder, a couple other vehicles. I guess I don't even remember what I've seen in that dang thing, but yeah, needless to say, I'm not going to hit it 1 point. I don't think it deserves to be hit any points on driftability, not when it's performing like this. Oh, thought we were hitting that wall. Efficiency itself, it does stance up. It's stanced up perfectly with no issue, so it's going to be a great vehicle that you can drift in free mode without having to worry about blowing up your car and recalling it in, claiming it on insurance. Not really going to be an issue with this vehicle. Will you have an occasional blowout? Yeah, it's going to happen with any vehicle, but a good vehicle for drifting in free mode. This brings us into the aspect of how does it handle damage. There's only one way to test that. Got to damage the hell out of this vehicle. We're really looking for front end slant, like the extreme camber in the front steering, which messes with, oh jeez, didn't expect that. Should have expected it, didn't expect it. Is your steering line getting severely affected, or is it basically not a big deal at all? Something like the Rapid GT, where you hit that rear fender a little bit, bounce, it just starts bouncing everywhere in the rear. So we'll smash this thing up pretty well. It looks like it has a very soft front end on this thing, just gonna say that right away. You don't see it collapse quite like that very often. It's just completely scrunched in the front. Usually if that's the case, the rear is gonna be just as soft, and it's appearing to be just as soft. I'd say we're pretty heavily damaged. I try not to get it to where it's smoking, because I know that definitely affects the drift, and I don't want that. Okay, yeah, so it is definitely going to affect your handling line. It's a very soft vehicle. I'm not noticing any bounce in the rear end, but I'm noticing a severe difference in the steering itself. So I'll hit it 1 point for that in efficiency. Not getting hit anything else in that in efficiency, though, because, well, again, it doesn't deserve to be. It's scored everything else perfectly. So far, that's 19 out of 20. That's bringing us into cost. We're looking at, man, I'm just going to sort it by price, because it's one of the cheapest vehicles you can buy on this thing. Right here, $116,000. Armored version was still like 300 grand, 325,000. I don't think I would suggest the armored. Yeah, maybe we'll test the armored one in the future, but so far the regular one, slam dunk, home run hitter, and definitely not looking back. 116,000 cost on it. Your upgrades on it were full price, nothing crazy, but it wasn't a lot of options to begin with. Needless to say, on cost, this thing deserves to be hit none as well. It's a 10 out of 10 on cost. That brings us to 29 out of 30. For a vehicle that has been in the game for so long, it kind of bothers me that we haven't tested this thing earlier, but I know that there's other vehicles like this in the game too. I know there has to be. But guess what? That's what this series is all about, finding which vehicles drift and how they perform. With that said, guys, if you did enjoy this video and you want to see more, definitely leave a like below and subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet. Keep an eye out for the Monster Energy Supercross. We're going to be doing a full career mode on that. You'll probably be getting, I don't know, a video every week, every other week. I'm not going to try to push it because, of course, this is a GTA channel for the most part. A drift channel, nonetheless. I'm sure you guys would let me get away with drifting on another video game more than you'd let me get away with a dirt bike game. However, I asked you guys in the poll on the channel, in the community tab, What do you guys want to see? And about 3/4 of you said that you would like to see me record a career mode on this game. With the game being brand new, I think it will also bring a little bit of new traction to the channel as well, which is always nice, guys. With that said, as always, I appreciate every single one of you tuning in, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing the videos if you're sharing the videos. If you're not sharing the videos, please think about doing it. As always, I hope you all stay happy out there. Please stay positive, and we will definitely speak to you next time.